Welcome to Horror with Marchese and Buller. We took a little break because we just wanted to take a little break.
Yeah,
but we
had
have
a whole lot of to do.
Yes, that's being cut out.
It's all with Marchese and Buller. It's all with Marchese and Buller.
Welcome to Horror with Marchese and Buller. So what we're talking about today is Pet Semetery. And Gary and I both saw it. We're going to try to talk about it without giving it away. There may be some spoilers, so if you haven't seen it yet, I didn't necessarily like it too much. As a standalone horror movie, I thought it was okay. As a representation of the book, I thought it was pretty bad. It almost was on par with Dreamcatchers. Yeah, Dreamcatchers was more accurate until about 75% through, and then it just like totally went. This one was like up and down. Like it was true, and then it just went off on a whole other thing. It was true, and then it went off on a whole other thing. I did notice that the girl looked like Drew Barrymore when she was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
There were like the little throwbacks to Stephen King, like in the beginning where you saw like the blood on the car and stuff. And you saw the little hand, like Misery, which was the book I got from Misery was the one with the bloody hand on the front. It's like a symbol that a lot of people use. I did not understand, because this is like the beginning. So Pascal, first of all, it was just strange the way like who they cast for that character, and he was not as intricate, or not intricate. He was not as integral as the other Pascal that kind of was trying to help them. This one was saying cryptic things in the beginning before anything even happened. So the father, Creed, he didn't know anything about the Pet Semetery yet. It was the mother and the daughter who had seen it already. So he got this character in, Pascal, that he got into a car accident and died. But then he's starting immediately to say these cryptic things about the soil and stuff like that. But he hadn't even, if they at least just let him bury the cat first, then I would have understood this character giving these cryptic or warnings. But it was, things were out of line. Judd, I mean, I wanted to like him. I really loved the first character in the original book and the original movie and the book. But this one, every time I got behind him and I was like, okay, he's working out, he just kind of dropped everything. Even if they would have said something along the lines of Judd was trying to get him to bring back his loved ones, to show him, look, this is what the place does. I've held this secret for so long, and I selfishly wanted you to see firsthand, because you probably wouldn't believe me. Then I would have said, all right, that's a little more believable, but there's no reason why Judd should have helped the guy bring his loved ones back to life. To me, everything falls to pieces at the end, where everyone's bringing everyone to the freaking burial ground. I don't even know how the little girl does what she does with those branches. And on top of it all, like I said, if I've never read the book or never read the movie, if I look at this going at it as it's just a horror movie, fine. Except for Pascal saying those cryptic things, and the father has no idea what's going on to begin with. The daughter talking, the characters talking after they become whatever they become, it could be demons inside of them mimicking, because I've heard some people say that sometimes ghosts aren't really loved ones, it's demons trying to trick you, all that stuff. They could have played on that, but it was kind of weird. There were scenes when I said I would have done it probably a little more subtly, like at the end, pretty much like the end, where they find Gage in the car, and then you just see him, and then it cuts away. That was a cool scene, because you're leaving it to the person's imagination. You don't know what they're going to do. And then I like how it went into the version of Pet Semetery sung by Ramones. That was really cool. Like, there were times when I did tear. I teared. But then, like, 2 minutes after, I swear I was laughing hysterically. When the mother took the father to the freaking burial ground, I was laughing hysterically. I just couldn't stop. I know you said before you get into your rendition of it, I know you said that you didn't like the Zelda thing. That there were some things that were just thrown in. I noticed that too. Like they didn't make sense. Like they were just trying to, get them in there. But the Zelda thing I kind of liked because at the end when the daughter was chasing the mother, you kind of could use the sounds in the walls and stuff like that. I did like that. And then also when I heard the sounds in the walls, I was like downstairs in my living room and everything was quiet and I heard sounds. I don't know if it was the dog or if it was his crate or the rain or something, but I was like, that's cool, man.
What did I think of it? I felt the first third of the movie was pretty poor. I thought it was a bit sort of straight to DVD. That's the impression I got. I was kind of thinking to myself, is this really a film that's out at theatres? And it's only when it sort of got a third of the way through it, sort of things started developing a little bit, and the accident happened with the cat. Started actually sort of getting me interest, and I think everyone knew that from the trailers and from even the poster that they did change the story slightly from the 1989 movie, and obviously which was a bit more faithful to Stephen King's book. After that, I thought it was quite good. I really like the ending, although I do kind of get what you're saying about the whole little girl getting her mother
up those branches,
How the hell?
Judd and the guy barely could get up them, and they had all their limbs. It's like
when we were watching it, Lisa kind of said, "Hang on a minute, how would a little kid do that?" Whilst we're watching it. So there are plot holes there. I mean, they could have done the same thing and maybe had the girl lead the mother maybe away from it and lead the mother over the logs and maybe kill her up at the burial ground or whatever. Maybe that would have worked a bit better or something, I don't know. But I felt quite a wide range of emotions. You sort of said you teared up a little bit. I felt myself sort of tearing a little bit watching it. I really sympathised with it. The girl in it, she was 8 and she was turning 9 on the day that this horrible thing happened to her. My daughter is 8 and she's turning 9 in June. The girl looked a little bit like my daughter, and Gage, who in the story is 2, the little boy, her little brother. We have a 2-year-old, well, nearly a 2-year-old daughter. So it kind of hit us on that sort of level. I empathised very much. I felt very similar about the 1989 one.
Yeah.
And also the book. The book is, if you're a parent and you've never read Pet Semetery, you need to, because that's the definition of horror for me. Horror is so much more than watching something and being made to jump for 90 minutes. Horror is when you feel it, when you really genuinely feel it. It's not a pleasant experience.
Well, that's the thing. The thing that with this movie, like, it sort of caught those things, but then, like in the book and the movie, the father-in-law was looking at the son-in-law as the one who was guilty, right? And then he pushes him, the casket lifts up, you see that kid's hand for a second, and you're like, this happened in a funeral home. In this movie, it's like you had moments of realism, and that's what made the King book so interesting, was it could really happen. But this movie, after the daughter died, I just didn't feel the sorrow. You know what I'm saying? The mother I did. But they didn't show. They sort of showed at the funeral the father-in-law looking at the son-in-law. You sort of got that little thing, but it was only like for a second.
It annoyed me a little bit, and this is where it fell a bit flat for me. I get what you're saying about you liked the Zelda thing and you like this, but I kind of the whole idea behind Pet Sematary is the idea that what would happen if someone you loved very, very much suddenly died, and you had a chance to bring them back. Right? That's one part of it. And another part of it is, when they come back, is it the same person? And what I felt from that Pet Sematary, the new one, more so than the original film, was there's an element of them still there, and I think that makes it even more frightening to me. If they come back and they're just demons, I don't think I care as much, because it's just a demon in their body and they've gone to heaven or limbo or whatever, But I kind of felt with the new film that there was still an element of that little girl there. And when they lay together on the bed and she's talking and she's like, "What happened to me?" and all, I felt that I thought it was a really good scene. But the thing with Zelda, the thing with Pascal, the thing with the animosity between Creed and his father-in-law, which was a big part of the book. is just completely relegated, as if like the guy who directed it or the person that wrote the screenplay was like, well, they're going to know that because they read the book, you know?
Yeah.
That's that for me. That kind of sort of it was as much of a muchness to me, and I get what you're saying about the sister-in-law and the voice and the sounds in the walls and stuff, but I think it was done much better in the original one, and I think Judd as well as a character was much more rounded in the original film as well.
Yes.
Even though his accent was hilarious.
Much more
rounded. You know what I mean?
You have a loved one pass away. Obviously, you have to. There's some real things that you have to go with, right? Right? The embalming. I used to work in a funeral home. They seal the lips, right? Sometimes they seal the eyes. They fill your veins with formaldehyde, so you don't have blood anymore. When you to go out and actually go to the cemetery, to sneak in, to dig up that grave. That takes hours, right?
That was a big old hole.
Yeah, I mean, it's 6 feet
and he
under.
had room on either side as well. Did you notice that? He had room enough in that hole to lift the lid as well.
Yeah, it was just so weird, you know. And then to get to take the person to that place, and the whole thing is, you don't care. Even if you've done this 3 times, if each of them were demons and they were trying to kill you and you had to kill them again, if someone you loved dies, someone will say, "Oh, I would never do that." But you have to really think: would you? If you knew that there was a place that you had the chance to see that person one more time, even if they weren't themselves, if you just saw them animated and walking towards you, would you do that?
Yeah,
you know?
that's a big question. What I found though in the book that's completely different to the movies is, in the book, the characters when they come back are just off, aren't they? It's like the cat's not an evil cat. The cat's just weird.
Yeah.
Smells funny and it's not quite right. And the same with the kid when it comes back as well at first.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like the idea of coming back drives them insane almost. You know, why are they there? You know, they died and suddenly they've been torn from wherever they were and they're back.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what's... And I had this conversation sort of thing with Lisa a little bit. Would you do it? And I have always been the kind of person who thinks, remember them how they were. I've never really, you know, if I had the chance to bring my mum back tomorrow, of course you would, but I wouldn't do it that sort of way.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand to see her diminished in any way. Even if I could see her again, it'd be a really strange feeling, wouldn't it?
Well, then
wouldn't be quite right.
There's also other factors too. There's what you're going through mentally at that moment, how much you drink, because that sometimes can, and you know, if you have somebody egging you on, saying, "Look, we could do this. Let's go and tackle this."
Have you ever seen the film My Little Eye?
No.
It's a horror film. It was back in the day when Big Brother first came out, the TV series. It was a crap film through most of it, and then at the very end, there was this scene, and it was so harrowing and horrible, and there was such a twist to it that at the end I sat there and just watched as the credits rolled for a few minutes, just processing what had just happened.
Yeah.
And that made the film for me, even though for 45, 50 minutes of it was just absolute dross. The ending just made me think, wow. And it really affected me. Like, oh, right, that's actually really creepy. And that's really harrowing and horrible. And it's like The Mist. Have you seen The Mist?
Yeah.
The ending to that.
It was different than the book, though. Like, they were outside and those things were all walking around.
Yeah. But what had happened, it was horrible, weren't it, you know?
But I want to know what you think.
It's your opinion. It's a horrible story, but at the same time, that's what makes horror. If anyone saw it, it'd be really interesting to see what you thought. If you saw the new one, or even if you've just seen the old one, or if you've listened to the audio book, which has got the guy out of Dexter narrating, which is brilliant. It's one of the best audiobooks I've listened to.
Right. We'll see you next time.
It's all with Mark Casey and Paul. It's all with Mark Casey and Paul. Yeah.
he basically, this guy, I won't spoil it, but he'd been taken to the end of his endurance, and he basically, he had no family left, and it was just one more bullet, and did he use it or something? And then he was rescued. And, it's horrible. Plus horror,
Yeah.
That's what's really good about it.
It's so like one of those stories where you got the thousands of maybe not thousands, 10 zombies. You just barely killed them. You're surviving. Your leg's broken. You get over the top of the cliff, and you see thousands of more along the, and that's where the movie ends.
Yeah.
If you want to comment, I mean, if you want to subscribe, please just subscribe. You don't even have to comment. Just say, look, we love you guys, and we want to just hear more of you, and subscribe.
Did any of you see that Pet Semetery? Sometimes dead is better.
Sometimes. But we have a lot this week that we, of course, did on the spur of the moment, because But
how do I look? Can you see me moving?
It's like you go like this.
Oh man, I don't know why. Yeah, I've got full bars on the network. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Sometimes dead is better.
Sometimes dead is better, Gage.
Okay, but you had to pull your thumbs back a little bit. Wait, a little more. And closer to your face, and down a little bit. Okay, yeah, like that. Yeah, okay, keep that. Okay, I got that, and then I'm gonna put, mine is...
Oh dear.
Wait. And, Gary, you're kind of freezing there.
My arm is just not moving.
Wait, the father, I forgot his name.
Yeah, it was Creed.
Creed, right?
Is it not Creed? Yeah.
Okay, that's the thumbnail. And,
ooh, Zevia.
but look at this one.
Mountain Zevia. Oh, right, okay, so it's basically Mountain Dew.
So let me start this off right.